So picture this. You have a nation with thousands of years of history, culture, and knowledge. Now, how on earth do you bring all of that into the digital age? That's the monumental task that Egypt's top experts recently gathered to figure out. The question they were facing is just massive. How does a country with such an incredible history build its digital memory? I mean, you have to preserve the past, but you also have to build the digital highways for the future. It's a huge deal. And so, back in October 2021, the sharpest minds in the country got together to tackle this exact problem. And let me tell you, this wasn't just some casual academic chat. It was a high-stakes meeting to literally chart a course for the nation's entire digital future. All right, so let's break down what they were really up against. It all comes down to two words that represent both a massive challenge and an incredible opportunity: digital transformation. You know, the whole world has been in this race to go digital for a while now, but then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and suddenly it wasn't a race anymore, it was an absolute necessity. All of a sudden, being able to get information remotely wasn't a nice to have, it was the only way for things to keep moving. So what do we really mean when we say digital transformation? Well, on the surface, sure, it's about replacing old-school manual processes with new digital ones. But it goes so much deeper than just scanning a bunch of documents. It's about completely rethinking how an entire society accesses, shares, and uses information. So, facing this urgent need, the experts at the conference basically drafted a battle plan. Let's take a look at the main themes they really zeroed in on. And they didn't just look at one piece of the puzzle. Nope. They broke the whole challenge down into 10 key areas. This gave them a complete 360-degree view. And as you can see, this went way beyond just tech talk. They covered everything from preserving ancient heritage to the legal side of things, and even stuff you might not expect, like digital marketing for libraries. Okay, so that's the framework. But what about the actual discussions? What were the big ideas that came out of all this? Let's get to the good stuff. One of the most powerful insights came from Dr. Adel El-Saraid. He pointed out that the pandemic wasn't just a challenge, it was a revelation. It was like a giant, real-world experiment that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt just how critical digital access is for students and researchers. And that just goes to show you, right? Sometimes a major crisis is the best catalyst for innovation. The pandemic basically forced a change that might have taken years to happen otherwise. It just lit a fire under everyone. Another huge idea that kept coming up was this fundamental shift from a paper society to a digital society. And this isn't just about upgrading your tech. It's a whole new world where your ability to instantly access information is the new currency. It's the new gold. And honestly, maybe the most important point of all was that this isn't just about technology. It never is. The experts were really clear. It is not enough to just digitize a bunch of content. You have to actively create the digital citizen, a person who has the skills and the mindset to actually thrive in this new world. It's about empowering people, not just archives. So all of this incredible discussion, all these big ideas, they didn't just stay in the conference room. They led to a concrete plan of action. So let's look at the recommendations, the actual roadmap they built for the future. And they didn't mess around. This didn't end with some vague summary. Nope. The experts came out with a full-on blueprint for action, 14 specific, concrete recommendations designed to guide Egypt into its digital future. The first part of this blueprint is all about getting the foundations right, the people and the policies. And some of these ideas are real game changers. For instance, they called for one single, unified national strategy to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction. They also talked about needing new laws to protect digital content. And, this is a big one, completely overhauling university programs to train information scientists for the jobs of tomorrow, not yesterday. All right, part 2 of the blueprint gets into the technology and the content, the real nuts and bolts. We're talking about really practical stuff, like expanding internet access for schools and researchers, and also adopting unified technical standards, which, trust me, is super important if you want all these different digital systems to actually be able to talk to each other. And finally, they pushed for more partnerships between universities and tech companies to really spark some innovation. So, okay, we have this impressive 14-point plan, but let's zoom out for a second. Why does all of this matter so much? Right now, what are the real stakes here? Well, here's why. This is about so much more than just scanning old books. What they're really talking about is building a nation's, get this, digital nervous system, the whole interconnected infrastructure that's going to carry every new idea and every single act of innovation. Think about it. A nation's memory, its culture, its future inventions, all of that is going to live on this system. It affects literally everything, from how kids learn in school and how researchers make breakthroughs, all the way to the country's economic growth. It touches every single part of national life. And that leaves us with one final crucial question. We've all heard that phrase a million times: knowledge is power. But as we build these vast new digital systems to hold all that knowledge, the real question for the future is, how are we going to choose to wield that power in this new digital age?